Nobody's here to see you.
Take it back.
Jack told me to take pictures. Jack took a picture of you and everybody.
Well, I would like to inform y'all, your mother-in-law called me, and she wanted to know why I'm so stupid to run for the state house. I said, what are you talking about? She said, well, who will be asking questions on the school board? So y'all got to designate another end.
No, tell Barbara Ball I called.
Uh-oh.
And the last time I did, because she came to my shop and
Now,
she
you know she love you not serious.
I give her a call.
You know she love you. You don't want to forget she do? Tell me something about you.
She did my daddy too.
I want to say this right here before we get on camera. Before we get on camera. We already live?
Yes.
Leave it up, man.
Good evening, welcome to the June, I don't know what day it is. 5th, thank you all very much. We're early, I don't, mess me up. June 5th meeting of the Fairfield County School Board. I believe we have got proper public notification, correct, Ms. Brown? Very good. It looks like everybody is accounted and present. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to enter executive session.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion we enter executive session.
To discuss. We need some personnel matter. I think that's, I believe it says student issue on there, but I don't believe that's correct.
No, executive session for contractual, legal, personnel matters, certified resignation and recommendation. No student.
That's been motioned. Is there a second? Pastor Jackson is second. The motion to enter executive session. All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. 7-0. We'll go into executive session, not to exceed 6:30.
I doubt it. Y'all need to go long.
That's all right, I got your phone number.
Brown took care of it. She said she took care of it.
Oh, okay. I was just told that I know it's supposed to be real.
The only thing that she maybe is, maybe send the information to us, I don't know why we're coming to you, was the per diem for the teachers.
That's what she asked about specific. She said every day, and then she said something for the
Because the mic is real. Hey, welcome to Fairfield. Can you testing 1, 2, 3?
I don't know, everything's sweeping me in these days. Everything's sweeping me in these days. How are you? Oh, I'm trying to be.
How was your first year?
a good one.
You had a good first year?
Yes, ma'am.
It's freezing in here.
To me.
How are you? All right, how are you? I'm good. I have a feeling I am.
Hello.
Okay, really? Okay, well, it took about a while. It's not
It's not that bad.
it's not, yeah, it's not bad. It's,
It's a little bit more than
yeah, it got much stuff.
atmosphere.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was
Even
not,
when I go home now, when I go to Heart, see, when we go home, ground, we do everything at home.
mm,
Go to
right,
hot pizza everywhere. I'm just hungry, just go out.
right.
So when I go home now, it's like, this is different.
Yeah, the cook,
It's totally different. The culture's,
they really prevalent now. They,
the culture's.
yeah, ooh, yeah. They don't really, you gotta do everything twice as good for them down there. But the school is good.
Yeah,
The school, and Hartsville stuff, they have a
It's
lot.
beautiful.
They have a lot. They definitely want to win still, that's for sure. But the school is good. We do a lot of stuff in the community. It's like our requirements, so I go through Hartsville a lot. Coker is also expanding on Parkland campus, so that's a good thing.
They're all living expanding.
Yeah, so
You know, the hospital used to sit right there.
really, well, what is McLeod? In Florence, McLeod. They're
The
opening,
hospital?
they're opening up a little emergency center right there by our school too.
Oh, are they? Like an urgent care?
Yeah, like urgent care, something like that, similar to. Yes, ma'am. So it's up there, definitely on the up. It's very nice hospital. But I enjoy it. Yes, ma'am. Amen. That's it. Right now, I'm looking into a scholarship interview. Hopefully, I'll know by the end of the week for Tulane. Which is been my number one for a while. And if not Tulane, I'm still, of course, applying to the top schools like Johns Hopkins and stuff. But other than that, University of Texas and University of Tennessee have given their scholarships to students who are in my school. Keep certain classes, we have scholarships. And we already have credits going into the school too.
Great.
So,
What are you pursuing?
chemistry for my undergrad and
Okay.
medical school. But chemistry was, I take a lot of chemistry up to school. So.
Awesome. Probably awesome.
Thank you.
Very proud of you. I will say, my mind went that way. That was a lot of fun. Today? I thought so. I was in I was out processing. I was busy until 5:30. But we had fun over time because that's one day. To me, you balance that out until you're doing
everybody back. At this time, Chair will entertain a motion to exit executive session.
Mr. Chair, make a motion, we exit executive session.
All right, there a second? Thank you, Mr. Davis. Been motioned by Ms. Harrison, second by Mr. Davis to exit executive session. All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. 7-0. Again, thank you all for being here this evening for our June 5th meeting.
It's all right, Chair. I'm thinking I'm going crazy.
At this time, if it's okay, we can have the pledge of allegiance. And a moment of silence.
Let's stand for the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A moment of silence. Thank you.
All right, at this time, the chair entertain a motion regarding the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. It's been motioned and second to approve the agenda. Any conversation on it?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
put my request on.
I told them to put serious conversation, but apparently it didn't make the final draft. But I do recall we did have a minor conversation at the end of last meeting that I thought resolved that. I apologize if we did not cover all that ground.
So you said all that to say,
It ain't on there.
so we're gonna discuss it?
I mean, we got third reading of the budget. You're free to discuss whatever we're going to discuss.
I'll be saying that when we get over there to start discussing it, then we'll talk about it.
I mean, that part's already on the agenda. So, you okay with what we got on the agenda so far?
As long as we can have a conversation about the salary scale.
Yes, ma'am. We'll have a conversation.
Okay.
All right. Anything further on that? If not, all those in favor of approving the agenda indicate by raising your right hand.
Sir, that's what the note is, that we're gonna discuss the salary scale.
You can ask whatever questions you want, Ms. McCann. You might not get the answer that you want, but you can ask the question.
The answer I want is, the answer
All
is
right.
best for the students
You're-
and the staff of the school.
Just to clarify for the record, your hand was up, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's 7-0.
Because you will let me ask questions about the salary schedules.
I can't stop you from asking questions.
And you're not gonna stop me from getting responses.
I don't think I can do that either. All right, public comment.
Mr. Chair, we have one public comment, Lamar Richards. You have 5 minutes. Come on. Again, thanking, I guess, the honors course.
Okay.
They didn't plug it, they plug it
Good evening, everyone.
in. It is.
On behalf of the Fairfield County District Honors Chorus and the Carnegie Hall participants, it is my distinct pleasure and honor to present this award to the Fairfield County Board of Trustees and Superintendent Dr. Jar Green in the absence of our Director, Ms. Alicia Graham. Please allow this award to be a token of our appreciation of the unanimous and dedicated support of the Fairfield County District Honors Chorus since its creation. This photograph symbolizes our journey to Carnegie Hall and all the overwhelming benefits and honors that come along with gracing one of the most prestigious musical performance stages in the world. Although to be invited to perform on this stage is a remarkable accomplishment, it heaves a great challenge to go to Carnegie Hall and present a perfect musical performance. However, needless to say, the Fairfield County District Honors Chorus loves a good challenge and did nothing short of gracing the Carnegie Hall stage with the musical prowess and vocal talent of one of a classically trained musician. This esteemed vocal ensemble from Fairfield County has become the premier focal point for many other vocal and talent ensembles across the nation. I believe it is an understatement to say that Fairfield County District Honors Chorus is truly blessed beyond measure, and it's because of the voices and commitments of the individuals who sit upon this board and administrate this district that we're so blessed. So thank you all for all that you do for Fairfield County District Honors Chorus, and hope that you continue to support all our future endeavors.
Wow, excellent. Richards, you're your team right here, Tiana and CJ, and Curtis. We thank you, and on behalf of the Fairfield County School District Board of Trustees, we'd like to thank you for presenting the board with this outstanding photograph of the performance. As someone who had an opportunity to be there, I'll tell you that it was absolutely remarkable, and these young ladies and gentlemen represent Fairfield County in fine fashion. So thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Richards. When we have presentations, can we make sure they not be part of public comment, but item on the agenda?
Yes, ma'am, as long as we're aware of what the presentation is, we can do that, but I don't know that we were aware about this, no, ma'am. I think he wanted to surprise us with this, and we're happy about the surprise.
It wasn't a surprise.
You surprised me, you didn't tell me.
Well, why you kept it away from me? I didn't know. Who knew? Y'all got back to the question, I didn't know. That's for sure. Thank y'all. Really appreciate it.
All right, any further public comment? Thank you, ma'am. At this time, we move to the board minutes. Chair entertain a motion in regard to the May 18th, the meeting of May 15th, 2018, the minutes from that meeting.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion and we approve the May 15 regular call board meeting minutes.
It's tougher to say than you think. Is there a second on that?
That's it.
It's been motioned by Ms. Harrison, seconded by Pastor Jackson to approve the May 15, 2018 minutes. Any issues, questions, concern on that? I see you're studying, that's why I'm waiting. You got it. Is there anything, Ms. McDaniel? I'm just making sure.
You got to use the policy.
Okay. Well, she wasn't reading. You don't want to read. All right. If there's none, all those in favor of approving the minutes, please indicate by raising the right hand. It's 5. All that negative, abstaining, 2 abstentions. All right. Superintendent's report.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, it's always an exciting time once we get to the end of the year. We look forward to seeing our young scholars matriculate from Fairfield Central High School and on to the next phase of their lives. And so we'll have graduation this coming Saturday at 8:30 at the football stadium. And we hope to have 199 graduates walk across the stage. All right. So that's probably the largest class I think we've had since I've been here. And so we're very excited to have 199 walk across the stage. I am so proud to announce that this graduating class from 2018 has amassed $12.8 million in scholarship dollars. Truly something to celebrate. Quite honestly, that number has been going up each and every year. And I can remember a couple of years ago when our goal was $10 million, and now we look up and we're almost at $13 million. And so this class has done some tremendous things. They will be matriculating to virtually every school you can imagine, from the University of South Carolina, Clemson, USC Upstate, Benedict, South Carolina State, Clark Atlanta, UNC Charlotte, students going into military, College of Arts and Design, Brigham Young University. These young people are doing some absolutely tremendous things. And so, I said, I think during the convocation that we were going to accomplish some things that we had never accomplished during my tenure here, and we did. Even though I didn't know what those things would be, but we did. And so we'd like to thank all the students, the parents, faculty, and staff for working extremely hard to make this a reality. I know Ms. McDaniel and Mr. Davis and Mr. Miller attended my last breakfast, and had an opportunity to listen to the, I always say it wrong, it's the, symphonic band, thank you, Ms. McDaniel, to the symphonic band under the direction of Mr. Davis, and I tell you, the selections that they played were absolutely remarkable. I mean, absolutely remarkable. And as I said during the break, was not only is he doing an excellent job of preparing our young people musically, he's getting these folks into college on scholarships. And so virtually every senior who is a member of that symphonic band is going to college almost on full scholarship. And so that is absolutely. So we look forward to graduation. As I said, the music will start playing promptly at 8:30. Okay, so let's be there. We know that it gets hot pretty quick, and so before the sun gets too hot, we want to be off the field. Also I sent the board members some correspondence that was forwarded to me by Miss Alicia Graham to follow up on what these young scholars talked about earlier, which was the exciting opportunity they had to perform at Carnegie Hall. Apparently we have got the attention of some others across the country. And so we have received an additional invitation for the honors chorus to perform in Tuscany, Italy. Ms. Graham and I had an opportunity to meet last week in reference to this invitation. She's soliciting all of the details in terms of what of the particulars for us to make that trip, in terms of what costs they'll help supplement and what costs we'll need to raise. But I am totally committed to giving our students an opportunity to go and perform in Italy. And so that is yet to come in terms of the final arrangements. That is not until summer of 2019. So we still have a full year to put things together. But rest assured, I'll be coming back to the board with a recommendation to move forward with the Tuscany, Italy. All right, and that's all I have today, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
I don't have any questions, but I do want to commend Dr. Green on the Business Partners Breakfast. Being that I was working out of town, that was the first one that I had the opportunity to attend. It was well attended, and there were some great presentations, and if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Green, I think the guy with Fatherhood program, he probably landed on some opportunities that could help his program. And so just want to thank Dr. Green for that. And for the band, I don't know the band director. Y'all know I used to get around to the schools a lot, and since I'm not working out of town, just a little bit of time that I've had to do things. The band director has some very extenuating circumstances that he has to deal with, and still give our children the probably 199% of his time to make those students great. And then I also went to Kelly Miller's graduation, and I don't know if you told us about that grant, Dr. Green, but you probably did. But they had a grant for the students to take band there, and every last one of the 6th graders was part of that band, and those students played as though they were in high school.
Yeah.
I mean, they were phenomenal. Yeah. So there are a lot of great things going on, and just want to let you know, Dr. Green, that no politics attached. It was all great. Good job.
Well, I appreciate that, Ms. McGann. I really do. But I do have one additional item, and it's in reference to the St. Mark's Summer Church Program. I presented the board with a proposal for St. Mark and a nonprofit entity that they are collaborating with to do a summer literacy program. They would like for the program to be housed at Gordon Odyssey Academy. I met the pastor of the church, in addition to some other individuals who would be working with the literacy program at facility about 2 weeks or so ago. They are very, very excited. We have crafted what we are calling a long-term facility use agreement, which would go through the summer. I am asking the board to approve a fee waiver, even though the church and the nonprofit entity says that they would be willing to help pay for some of the expenses, i.e. light bill, water bill, things of that nature. And so I'll probably meet with them because we wouldn't transfer those utilities in their name because we still have some individuals that are still utilizing the building as well. Our Artworks program is currently using the building from time to time, so it would not be housed exclusively with this summer program, but I am making a recommendation that we grant them permission to utilize the building for this summer literacy program. You know, I've told you before, probably on several occasions, that there's a term that we've referenced in education circles called summer slide. And summer slide refers to how students, in essence, lose academic ground during the summer because they aren't academically engaged. And so in other words, a student leaves school at a higher level in 3rd grade than he returns back in 4th grade because they have not been actively engaged academically. And so I see this program as assisting us in mitigating that summer slide because students will be actively engaged in some kind of structured environment. And so I see that as benefiting not only the church and families and communities, but also benefiting our system because they return an even better prepared student. I think someone asked earlier about is there a fee associated with the summer camp? There is a fee. I think it's $75 or $70 a week that they're charging. But I'll tell you, I don't think they'll have any problem getting people to sign up for it because so many parents are searching for some very positive outlets for their children during the summer. So, Ms. Chair, members of the board, I recommend that we extend them the opportunity to use the facility.
All right, let's get back on track. That was a lot of explanation, but let's go back. Can we get a motion in regards to the summer program and the fee waiver?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I recommend we accept the superintendent to approve the summer program hosted by St. Mark Church for usage of the Old Garden RTC facility with fee waiver of fees.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, I second.
Thank you, Pastor Jackson. It's been motioned by Ms. Harrison, seconded by Pastor Jackson to approve the facility usage and fee waiver for the summer program for St. Mark's. Ms. Hart.
Yes. When they use our facilities, other people, other organizations, what is as far as liability to the schools?
Very, very good question, Ms. Hartman. So as a part of our fee waiver agreement, a facility use agreement, they are required to take out liability insurance. And so I think they're required to have at least $1 million of liability insurance. And so I will work with the church and the nonprofit to verify that they have liability insurance in the event that anything occurs.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, we're going to be charging us any kind of fee, everything is waived for that?
And so Ms. McDaniel, during our meeting, we discussed them assuming responsibility for the utilities, light bill, things of that nature. They have indicated to me that they are willing to do that. We've not necessarily worked out exactly how we would structure that since we are still utilizing the building. I think Ms. Neal and the Artworks Department plan to utilize the building this summer as well. So I don't think it would necessarily be fair on our part to ask them to be responsible for all the utilities when we are still utilizing it. I think we'll probably ultimately enter into an agreement where we just settle on a certain amount, if that's the board pleasure, or we can elect to just not accept any fees at all.
I guess I shared with the board at the last meeting when to us that normally we do not charge a fee if their activity is going to help our students academically. And if I heard you correctly, if it's dealing with literacy, then it most definitely will. And I would rather see us not charge them utilities, and then if we identify some students who could not afford to pay the fee, then those students are able to go. Or if they would let us know, if you would let us know if there's some students that parents can't afford for them to go that would benefit by going, that those students be allowed to attend.
I think that's a very reasonable request. So yeah, I'll speak to him about that.
Okay. Okay.
Any further questions, issues, concerns on this?
Well, I just speak to that, I think that's fair also. So, that's what I'll be looking for, to vote that way. And so we can, we'll leave it in your hand, but nevertheless, I know it takes that, because they got to pay people, so I know it's gonna be some, but at the same time, if we saving you electricity and all this other thing, we can work some out. So, again, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to make that comment.
Thanks, sir. Anybody else? All right. All those in favor of approving the summer program as recommended by the superintendent with the fee agreement, and looks like going back and looking at it upon review, all those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. I believe that's 7-0. Thank you. Curriculum and instruction.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to backtrack just one notch.
Okay.
When we were talking about graduation, I'd like to make this comment that, in relation to chorus, all the after-school activities and in school that's contained of arts, drama, band, all the physical activities, football and all that. That helps, I think, to increase the kids to stay in school when they have some extra activities like this that they like, to mix in with things that they may not necessarily like. And so I think that could contribute to, higher graduation rates.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think it's great.
Curriculum and instruction.
Good evening. For your approval is the 2018-19 District Strategic Plan and School Renewal Plan updates. And essentially, the changes that were made reflect the 2017 test data from last year, and any updates were needed for our needs assessment and also related to our performance goals.
Thank you, ma'am. Chair will entertain a motion in regard to the strategic plan, the updates for the 18-19 and renewal.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to accept the superintendent recommendation, the board to approve the 2018-2019 district strategic plan, school renewal plan update. Providing a second.
Thank you, sir.
I second.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. It's been motioned by, what's her name again?
I hope so.
Probably motion is second. I hadn't even cracked the bottle open. I promise, Annie. I see you look at me like the Fiji water, Miss Brown. It was the Fiji water that got me.
I don't know, it's different. Is it what we normally have?
I apologize. It's been motioned by Mr. Miller, it's been seconded by Ms. Harrison to approve the strategic plan for the 18-19 school year with the renewals and updates. Is there any discussion on that?
Can we have some type of updates or information about?
I think it's in Word docs, Ms. Harlan.
Well, I know, yeah, like 40-something pages. Why wouldn't we invite it also to participate if we wanted to? We have in the past.
Yeah. So Ms. Hartman and members of the board, you have to do a new strategic plan every 5 years. In the interim of those 5 years, 5-year periods, you simply update the data. So it's not where we meet. I mean, you simply update the data that has already been in the 5-year plan. So it's sort of a living document, if you will. So there is not a meeting to do a new plan, you're simply updating the existing plan.
Okay. Didn't in each strategic plan each year, there's goals to set, right? To try to achieve certain things, and then go into another set next year, right?
Yeah, so you do that every 5 years. So in other words, you update it. So for example, if you said our goal was to have 75% pass rate on Algebra 1 exam by 2017, 2018. If you didn't have 75%, then you would update it with the actual data. And so you just update it every year. It's not necessarily where you're developing new goals, but you update the plan on a yearly basis.
So how did that plan go as far as what our goals were? Can you just give us some idea?
I'm not following your question.
How are we going along as far as set strategic plan?
So is your question, have we met all the goals that we set out during the 5-year review?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, no ma'am, no. So some goals we've met and some goals that we haven't met.
You don't have any idea of
No.
either one?
No ma'am, I couldn't tell you. But as Mr. Frick said, I mean, all the information is in board document.
Yeah, we have, 3 days to look at it, 40 pages, something, yeah. Those type of things, why can't we get ahead of time? Is there any way of doing that?
Comes out when the agenda comes out.
No, I'm saying like a month before. I mean, we get the agenda 3 days, on Friday, and then we have a meeting on Tuesday. So something like that that's that important, I think it'd be nice to have it maybe a month before. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any further questions, issues, concerns? Seeing none, it's been motioned and second. All those in favor of approval of the strategic plan for the 18-19 school year with updates and renewal, please indicate by raising your right hand. That's 7-0. Thank you. We are now at Operation Finance.
Good evening. The first item under Operations and Finance is the May 2018 Finance Report for Board Review.
Anybody have any questions on the May Finance Report? All right. Thank you, sir. Next part.
Item number 2 is a tax anticipation note resolution. The superintendent's recommending approval of a tax anticipation note not to exceed $5,400,000. The purpose of this is to just help serve as a short-term loan to meet the district's cash flow needs until the majority of our revenues come in January from property taxes.
Thank you, sir. Chair entertain a motion in regard to the TAN.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion we accept the superintendent recommendation to approve a tax anticipation not to exceed no more than $5,400,000. Providing I get a second.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Davis. It's been motioned by Ms. Harrison, second by Mr. Davis to approve tax anticipation note not to exceed $5.4 million. Any questions, issues, concerns on that?
Mr. Chair, I didn't get a chance to really review this, but can, please use your mic for some.
We've gotten a request by the media to please use our mic, so it's not necessarily Ms. Brown. They want to get all our interactions, Ms. McDaniel, apparently. Apparently they missed some of it last time.
Mr. How they said in Congress, the gentle lady. Thank you, ma'am.
Apparently they missed the 9 children that graduated from college too, but anyway, I'll discuss that later. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll discuss that part later. It's none with you.
Mr. Chair, is there, can we get a little more detail on the cash flow statement for the TAN? I didn't really get a chance to study it, so I'm hoping they can just tell us real quickly. If, I know it says up to, 5 million,
5.4.
okay, and it looks like in January is when, the tax revenue come in and we'll pay it off. But then at the bottom, it's showing a -5. So can you just elaborate on that just a little bit? 5 point, I guess that's the total amount.
Sure. In that last column in that cash flow worksheet, that really shows the cumulative amount of cash that's available at any point during the year. So that bottom figure that shows a -$5,346,850, that's where they determined that the maximum amount would be 5.4 million for the TAN, because what the worksheet is showing is that we would potentially have a maximum deficit without the TAN of roughly $4 million in cash. So that's how they make the determination of what the maximum amount is that we would borrow through the TAN.
Okay, I think what I did, to Mr. Robinson, is I looked at on the 15th is where your schedule shows the 5.3, and then I guess that 600 and some thousand came in, that took it back down to the 4.7. So, okay, and it looks like that is, must be state money, on the 22nd. Which I guess is which is before the 24 million?
It
Coming
is.
in for the,
That's correct.
Okay, all right, I see it now, thank you.
Any other questions? I just want to be consistent. I've said it every year, and I'm going to say it again. Dr. Green, is there going to be a year I don't have to vote on one of these things? I understand the reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
It's just, would like to see a day when I didn't have to vote on that. It's just my comment. We all have our issues. All right. Anybody got any other issues, questions, or concerns on it? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the tax anticipation note for the upcoming year for not to exceed $5.4 million, please indicate by raising your right hand. I believe that's 7-0. Thank you. All right. Third reading, FY 18-19 budget.
The third item is the third reading of the FY 18-19 budget, and the superintendent recommends the board approve the third and final reading of the fiscal year 2018-19 budget in the amount of $41,267,157, and approval of the attached budget resolution to be sent to the county.
Thank you, sir. Chair will entertain a motion in regards to the third and final reading of the FY 18-19 budget and budget resolution.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I say we accept the superintendent recommendation of approval of the third and final reading of the FY 2018-19 budget in the amount of $41,267,157, and the approval of the attached budget resolution to be sent to the county, provided I get a second.
Thank you, ma'am. It's been motioned by Ms. Harrison, seconded by Mr. Davis to approve the third and final reading of the FY 18-19 budget in the amount of $41,267,157 and the budget resolution attached. Any questions, issues, or concerns? No?
Oh yeah, you try that.
Are you ready to go for it, Ms. McDaniel? Okay, I'm gonna let you go first.
I'm gonna go last.
I'm gonna request you go first.
All due respect to my chair, I will definitely go first. All right, my first question is regarding the salary schedules. And I know, Dr. Green, you shared with us the pay raise that you had, based on what you were recommending for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
and you sent us some salary schedules before the last board meeting.
Uh-huh.
Can you, expound on which one of those you used for the, support staff?
I don't follow your question, Ms. McDaniel. That's the salary schedule for all district employees.
The 2015-16 one?
Let me go back and see what you're talking about. All right, so now what's the question again, Ms. McDaniel?
Okay, you said, you have a general salary schedule that you use for everyone?
No, so what I sent you, there's a teacher salary schedule, there's salary classes, there's a salary schedule for, classified employees. So I'm not quite sure what.
That was my question. Which one did you use for the, for the classified? And you said you use a generic one.
I mean, I guess I'm confused when you said I use a generic one. So these are the approved salary schedules for the district that I forwarded you.
Correct. So my question to you was, which one did you use when you came up with the amounts that you put in the budget that you're making recommendation on for the support staff?
We had to use a combination of all of them. And so you have multiple people employed. I mean, you got teachers employed, you got administrators employed.
But teachers are not considered classified.
But that's what I'm saying. You said, which schedule did I use? And
For
so,
classified. For the support staff.
okay. I'm still not quite following your question, Ms. McDaniel. When you say which, I mean, so there's one schedule for classified employees.
Okay, correct. So that's the schedule that you use
Yes,
for
yes.
the classified.
Yes.
Okay, because when I opened, let me go back to that schedule. Because when I opened it up, you had 17-18 athletic supplement, 17-18 district stipends, 17-18, hold on a second. You can go to somebody else's question while I try to find that, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? I guess just a general question. I know we had some changes between first reading and second reading. Are there any additional changes as we go into third reading?
No, sir.
Okay.
Can you go through exactly what was changed on that?
So the two.
It wasn't really clear.
Okay. So the two changes that we made, we changed the varsity girls basketball supplement, I think from 8,500 to 10,000, and the varsity boys basketball supplement from 8,500 to 10,000. And the final change was we added $10,000 to the band supplement. So there was a total of, I think, $20,000 or $10,000 in band supplements, and we added $10,000 to the band supplements. And so to be dispersed among all the individuals that work within the band program.
Which is the same thing as on the schedule that you gave us, right?
No,
For the supplements?
no, that's not on it. So what's on the supplement are the original figures from this year. So that was a change that we made. What I forwarded to you, if you look at the stipends, I don't think we changed them.
Did the schedules come from you that came from Ms. Brown?
No, I sent them.
Okay.
Yeah, I sent them. I So I don't remember making that change, Ms. McDaniel, but I want to verify just to be sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I sent these, if my memory serves me correctly, before you approved the change. So in other words, we met first reading, I sent this to you second reading, you didn't, I sent it prior to the second reading, and you didn't approve the change until second reading.
Oh, because you had it in what you presented to us on second reading?
It was in second reading. It was in the budget for second reading, yes.
Okay.
So I'm correct. So if you're looking at the supplements, it's still $8,500 for girls varsity basketball, $8,500 for girls varsity, and for boys varsity basketball. As I said to Ms. Hartman a second ago, that would go from $8,500 to $10,000.
Okay, I actually found that email. What date did you send that?
I sent it 5/13.
5/13? Okay, I see.
While Ms. McDaniel's still looking at that, one other question. Do we have any more, I don't think the legislature has met yet, but do we have any more clarification as to whether we're looking at, I know we're putting in 2%, but I know they were talking about maybe throwing in some money for some SROs maybe, and maybe paying a little part of teacher raises. Do we have, nothing's happened? Okay. I don't think they meet till after the election. So we'll have to wait a little longer.
Okay, well, now with that, I see, athletic supplements, district stipends, salary classes, salary schedule, and teacher salary schedule. So is it salary schedule? Do we use for the class?
No, so once again, if you look at salary schedule, that's right. Okay, and then you can look at the employment categories. All right, so let's say you looked at 2090. Okay, then if you looked at salary classes, Ms. McDaniel, then you can look and find who is in class 2090. And so 2090 is a secretary 3.
Oh, I know how to read it. I'm just curious, concerned as to what it's saying. If, so how would I know where the custodians and the cafeteria workers are? Because you saying if a person's scale or grade or whatever terminology you guys use is 1010, then that person's starting salary would be $10.67 an hour. And we go down to 1,100 and we still paying hourly, and then when we jump to 2020, then we start paying based on a salary, and then that salary is $17,887. Normally there would be a separate hourly schedule and salary schedule, but if they're not, I mean I can still kind of read it, but it's still not really telling you which one you use for the different support staff folks. And so I guess that's what my question is.
And so I guess when you said it didn't tell you which you use for the different support staff,
Yeah,
it would be based on the salary class.
So if you a bus driver, which one of these scales are you being paid based on? 10, 20, 30, 60?
If you go to salary class and you see bus driver, that's 1030. Bus driver is 1030. So if you go back to the salary schedule and you look at 1030, and you see bus driver with 0 years experience starts at 1184.
So the cafeteria workers, the lowest cafeteria worker we have makes $10.67 an hour.
They start at 1067, so that doesn't mean they make 1067, but the person coming in with 0 years would start at 1067.
And if we take that out a year, then what would the annual be?
Well, that depends on how many hours they work.
If they work the max they can work, or the normal?
I couldn't say off the top of my head, Ms. McDaniel. I know generally speaking that 2,000 hours in a year. assuming they don't work a full 2,000 hours in a year, I guess it would be somewhere between 15 and 20,000 dollars.
Okay, we still take hourly people and take their total annual salary and divide it over 20 however many pay periods?
Yes.
Okay, so we have to have an annual salary to be able to do that, right?
Well, it's based on how many hours you're projected to work.
Okay, that's the way, one way that you do
Yeah.
it. But, so you should have an annual salary of what they're making over the course of a year.
And as I said, without knowing how many hours someone is going to work during the course of the year, I can give you an estimate, but I couldn't tell you specifically what their salary would be.
But your staff would know what they're putting in when they get ready to divide it over the number of pay periods so that they will get paid that amount every pay period. Because they get a set amount every pay period, correct? And then anything above that, up until they get 40, would be considered overtime, correct?
Okay.
Okay, so what's the annual salary for the,
Yeah, Mr. McDaniel, I can't tell you that. I mean, I can tell you what the hourly rate is. I can tell you based on an average number of hours for a year, but not knowing how many hours someone is going to work, I couldn't tell you what their annual salary is.
now,
If I can tell you,
that's why I asked us to have the conversation regarding what we're paying the individuals so that we could know and we could be informed as to how little we're paying some of the people, or if we're paying them what they should be making, or more than what we think they should be making. And we did not have that, that conversation. And I'm just not understanding why it's heartburn to have the conversation.
Mr.
You know,
McDaniel,
it's not
I'm having a conversation with you, Mr. McDaniel.
Yeah, but you don't have the information. How you had the conversation if you don't have the
Mr.
information?
I'm telling you what someone makes an hour. You asked me to tell you what they're going to make a year. Without knowing how many hours they're going to work per year, I can tell you make, depending on where you are on the scale. So a person with 0 years makes 1067. A person with 12 years makes 1276. So I'm saying there's different people on the scale working different hours.
But when they are set up in the system in the beginning of the year, you use some formula, some methodology to determine how much you're going to set them at the beginning of the year to spread their salary out over the 24, 27, 26, however many pay periods. And so that information should have been presented based on the question that I asked.
You're saying basically if you could figure out 2,000 hours.
And once again, Ms. Harvey, I'm
$10 and 67 cents, which is what this says. That comes out with 21,320.
They don't work 2,000 hours.
Well, I'm just.
I know, but they don't.
said.
I know, but they don't. Why do you want to have a conversation? I just don't understand.
I'm not stopping you from having any conversation. I mean, conversation.
You're just talking to myself, right?
Yeah, I don't, yeah. It's fine. I mean, what I'm giving you is, I'm telling you how much employees make per hour based on their salary category.
But my question was for annual. And you could run that out of the system, because when you set all of your employees up, unless they are part-time or temporary, we take the annual salary, unless y'all change something, and you divide it so that every pay period, they will get the same amount of money unless they work overtime or they have some extenuating circumstance and they come off payroll.
You got something you wanted to add, Kevin? Okay.
Sure. With regard specifically to the food service workers, if you're trying to annualize their salary, to compare it to the other classified annual salaries, the two variables other than the hourly rate, they work 185 days a year. Food service workers, they do not all work the same number of hours per day because it's based on that school, that particular school, and the school schedule, lunch schedule. So some of them may work 7.5 hours, some of them work 7 hours, some of them may work 8 hours. So there's no specific number of hours per day times that 185 days. Typically what we do, you're correct, to annualize that salary, we get the actual number of hours for each worker per the food service department for that particular year based on that school schedule. So in fact, what I'm telling you is that all of the annual salaries are going to be different for the food service workers based just on the fact that they do work different number of hours during that 185-day period.
And while I do, may I address your staff person? Okay. With that being said, I understand that, but however, when you formulated your budget, you used some methodology for determining how much you want to put in the budget for their salary. And you know on an average how many hours they work. Yeah, you'll have some variances based on different circumstances, just like with teachers in any other position, you'll have some variations. But a normal cafeteria worker works what, 30, 35 hours a week?
I would say if you want to average it out, probably 7 hours for the cafeteria workers. I think most of the managers do 8 hours.
And so if you spread that out over the course of a year, my simple question is, what would be that annual salary?
Okay, so then it'd be 185 days times 7 hours on average, times whatever hourly rate is for that particular person.
And to add to that, some cafeteria workers work during the summer as well, and where others do not. So there's a variation there as well for those who work during summer program.
And I understand that, Dr. Green, 1067. You ask Kevin to multiply that? I shouldn't have to sit up here and multiply that out. That's all right, he can do it. So we'll do it right.
That was 1067.
If they have 0 years experience.
And that's based on, and I just base it on that average, I said about 7 hours a day times 185 days, so that's $13,818 roughly.
Now, do we honestly think that's okay?
So you said it was how much?
Compared to what, Ms. McDaniel? I mean, you can't pick one salary and say,
13,000.
that's not a fair salary. And this is the issue that I had last time, is I understand you're trying to make a point, and I appreciate the point you're
No,
trying
I'm
to
not
make.
trying to make a point, Mr. Frick. What I'm trying to say to us is, we need to look at this, and is this really what we want it to be? And if we want our people to have livable wages, then we need to come up with something to either add to, okay, like Dr. Green said, okay, some of them get to work during the summer. But when they work during the summer, what is that bringing their salaries up to? I mean, come on, $13,000, $14,000 a year?
I agree. I don't think there's anybody that say that would be a high-paying job.
Then,
But what are you comparing that to? I mean, what makes that unfair?
the
If that's what
fact
you're
that
saying?
it's not a livable salary. What's the poverty level in Fairfield County?
It's extremely high.
Well, thought would be, I think is what you're saying, and I agree with this, is maybe when raises go around, give them a little bit higher raises than a percentage raise on their crop.
And then you're doing a disservice to everybody else, and the other end, you're gonna lose all those employees.
How is that? When they're so low to begin with the other one's way up here. Ones get richer, and the poor get poorer. That's about what the math is.
There are different ways, I'm sure that we could come up. I know one time, when we were looking at salaries and the salary was so low that we gave, bus drivers and cafeteria workers additional responsibilities to bring them up to 40 hours so that they can have a decent salary. And that's why I'm saying, have the conversation and then let Dr. Green know what we would like to happen, and then he come up with alternatives and the options as to what we do. We shouldn't have to figure it out, but we know that kind of salary is not good.
I guess that depends on your perspective.
Okay, what perspective would say that's good?
I represent people who make no money for a living, and they would be glad to get $10.67 an hour. So it depends on whether you come in from having no income to having some income or to having higher income. Now, in no way am I trying to say that somebody making $13,000 a year is somebody who's, no ma'am, don't put words in my mouth. Ms. McDaniel, I am not under cross-examination, and you are not cross-examining me right now.
But that's what you're doing right there now.
You made your point. Please let me make mine.
But Mr. Fred, you can make your point all day long. The fact of the matter is we're not comparing our employees with someone who makes zero money. They are working 7 hours a day, working with our children. All I'm asking is that we know that's unreasonable. Ask the superintendent to look at some options and bring some options back to us.
Okay.
And then we can go on.
And so Ms. McDaniel, as I said last time, I'm going to come to the board with a revision of the salary schedule for all employees. I'm not going to make a recommendation to make a revision to the salary schedule for any one category of employees. I appreciate your perspective, but in terms of what my perspective is, I'm going to come to the board with the revision of the salary schedule for bus drivers, for cafeteria workers, for teachers, for maintenance workers. I'm going to come with a total revision. Now, if you have a recommendation, Ms. McDaniel, you have fiduciary responsibility, and you want to make a recommendation for any one class of employees, that's obviously your right. But in terms of what I think is a prudent course of action, as I said last time, is to make a recommendation to modify the entire salary schedule. I want to make note now that the last time the salary schedule was revised, I think the cafeteria workers are making about $2 more than they were previous to that revision. So I think the last revision went from 8 something as a starting salary to 10.67 as a starting salary. And so obviously we are where we want to be, but I want to make note that we have been making progress. I do not plan to make a single category recommendation to the board, but a total revision of the salary schedule to include all employees. That's my recommendation.
I hear your statement, and the board, the majority of the board can allow you to do what they so choose to allow you to do, Dr. Green. But for you to even, and the salary study came to us since you been here, but for you to even bring a salary study to us and give the perception that is fair when you have one group of people making $10.60 an hour who go to work 7 hours a week, 7 hours a day, and not offer some other opportunity for them to get up to the 40 hours a week. And you have someone else making well above that. Now, you can say maybe they deserve it. I might say they don't deserve it. You have your opinion, I have my opinion. What I'm asking this board, and you work for this board, is to ask you to look at the salaries and see if there's something else that can be done to help bring these folks' salaries up, so that during the summer they're not trying to live off of unemployment and going to the unemployment office, and they're saying that because you come back to work next year, you already committed, we can't give you unemployment, so that they can have some kind of livable wage. I didn't bring this up before to become some kind of us against them, or compare a $10 an hour salary to a 0 hour salary. I brought it up so that we can look at what we can do to our employees so that they're making a livable wage and they can take care of their families without having to go to the unemployment office. There was no hidden agenda, none of that. But then when you don't want to talk about it and you don't want to look at it, then that makes you wonder.
Madam Chair, Ms. McDaniel, as I said, what my plans are, and you're right, the board can direct me to make any adjustments you want. You have fiduciary responsibility. You can direct me to, you can change any category that you like.
I'm just any category. Don't try to make it seem like I'm going someplace where I'm not. All I'm asking is that when you look at the salary schedule, you look at the salaries, and if there's salaries that someone can't live off, just bring some other options to us to look at to try to make their salaries more in line with the livable wage. That's all I'm asking.
And so let's back up. I want to provide a little more history here, Ms. McDaniel. Okay. So as I said, after the last revision to the salary schedule, just the category of employees that you're talking about probably got about a $2 raise. This schedule was based on a firm that the board consulted with. You hired a firm to do a study of comparable districts
Why you were
to
here?
recommend, no, that happened prior to my arrival.
How long ago was that?
But that's part of why I'm concerned, because when that salary study was done, that salary study was not presented to the board, so that, no sir, it was not. It was not presented to the board so that the board could have the kind of discussion that I'm requesting that we have. And I worked in school districts, I've worked all over the place dealing with payroll and dealing with salaries. And I know how folk can take the top level salaries and you keep pushing them up, and the salaries at the bottom, you still continue to keep those salaries, you inch them up a little bit here, you inch them up a little bit there. All I'm asking is let's try to give our people a livable wage. If it means keeping the same hourly rate, but somehow working them out to get more hours, then do that. All I'm saying is just look at some options to bring back to us, that's all I'm saying.
And Mr. Daniel, as I've said over and over again, you have fiduciary responsibility. You can make whatever recommendation you like. You can say give everybody a 30% raise. I mean, you have that right.
No, sir, I do not have that right. I sit on the board with 7
Okay,
people.
well, I mean,
and
I'm
only have
talking,
one
it's
vote.
only you individually. You have the right to make a recommendation, and the board can vote to approve it or not. So if you're saying, can the board do X, Y, Z?
In my recommendation, Dr. Green, is just what it was. When you guys look at the salaries, and you see that there are folk here who are making 14, 15, less than $20,000 a year, that there are just some other, bring us some other options to look at. Is there something else that they can do in the district to supplement their salaries when they get off so they can make 40 hours? I mean, and if we can afford to raise their pay, why not raise their pay? I don't think no one in this district who makes $60,000 to $80,000 a year would cry because you give someone who making $13,000 just a little bit more money so that they can have a livable wage.
Mr. McDaniel, do you have a recommendation?
My recommendation is that you look at the salaries and bring us some options.
And so, as I've said, I'm going to look at the entire salary schedule and bring back the board a recommendation about the entire salary schedule.
And you can bring that, but in addition, anybody who's making less than $20,000, then a supplemental recommendation for those folks.
As I said, Mr. McDaniel, I'm going to bring the board back a recommendation. Now, obviously, the board can accept my recommendation, they can modify my recommendation. The board has fiduciary responsibility. You have the authority to do whatever you like with my recommendation, Mr. McDaniel.
Mr. Chair, I move that the superintendent, when he brings the salary study to this board, that he also bring a recommendation to this board regarding, with options as to how we can get people who make less than $20,000 more hours so that their salary can be at least $20,000.
Mr. Daniels made a motion.
Second.
Ms. Hartman's made a second. All right, it's been motioned and second that I want to make sure I have it phrased right. Essentially what you're talking about is make sure everybody makes up to $20,000, right? I mean, if someone makes less than $20,000 a year, provide recommendations of what they can do to make up to $20,000 a year?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, any further discussion on that? All right. All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. All those opposed? Ms. McDaniel's motion.
What was the
So
first
I'm
vote?
glad y'all can live off that money.
What was the first vote?
I think the vote is 2 in favor, once again.
So that means he's got it right because they ain't voting.
Right.
So the vote was.
Ms. Hartman said you can leave off there, since she didn't vote.
Vice Chair.
I'm a little disillusioned here because the fiduciary responsibility that we have, as has been stated by Dr. Green, is true. And what Ms. McDaniel is proposing is okay. I have a problem with us changing whatever is presented to us. Let him bring what he said he was going to bring to us. And then if that bottom line doesn't look like we want it to look, meaning those employees that we're talking about, then we as a board can say to the superintendent what we want him to do with that salary range. And I think that's what she's saying. And I don't have a problem with that. Let him bring what he's gonna bring, and then we'll deal with it.
Mr. Chair, the vote already been taken. And the vote is that he bring options for the annual salaries that's less than $20,000.
And so, Mr. Chair,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Daniel, I just want to be clear, and I don't have a problem. I'll bring you back whatever you ask for, even if it requires a millage increase. But I want you to understand that what I'm gonna bring you ultimately is even if cafeteria workers have to go from $10.67 to $22 an hour, you're saying no one can make less than $20,000 a year. I want to be clear that that's what the board is
Mr. Chair, is
directing.
that what I said?
You were looking for options, correct? You simply want to know what options. You're not directing that the budget reflect that for this year. You want to see options, correct?
On the vote, I only saw 2 hands go up.
There were 3 votes. Ms. Hartman was in favor, Ms. McDaniel was in favor, and I voted in the negative. And
Mr. Fred, I'm just gonna tell you that went so fast, that's why I was asking, I ain't got no problem with that. But let's let the superintendent do his job, that's all I'm saying. Let's let him do his job, when we get back, we can talk about that, but I understand there's a lot of things that, especially with, our cafeteria workers, I agree that, we probably could, not only that, bus drivers, we could maybe add some hours or whatever, if the superintendent, can work those things out. But one of the things that I talked with them, and this is what got things kind of blown out of proportion, was that when they went all the way to, when they're out on the summer, they get a check, okay? And it makes it look like they really ain't get that. And it still ain't but $13,000, $14,000. But they actually gets the check during the summer. Now, at one time, it was just, at the end of the summer, at June, they stop. And then they don't get another one until September. And so, they hurt. They are hurting, and I understand that. And that's what we're here for. But at the same time, I think that we need to let the superintendent do his job and bring back. And if the board see fit, then we'll vote then. But that's the superintendent's job, in my opinion.
I understand, but I think upon clarification, Ms. McDaniel's request is just a view of options, correct?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, with all due respect, I don't really understand that. Now, if Ms. McDaniel's motion is that I bring a motion back to the board that no employee makes, bring the proposal part, that I bring a proposal back to the board that no employee make less than $20,000. That is what you've asked me to do, right?
I didn't say that they should not make 20, I didn't say what they should make.
Well,
I didn't say whether we're gonna give them anything or not give them anything.
Before we took the
I'm just
vote,
saying,
I
bring
asked
it-
you a number, and you said that number.
But
So that's why we're saying
let me finish.
$20,000.
I tried to explain it, Mr. Chair. What I'm asking you to do is bring us options to look at, to consider as to things that we could do. It doesn't say we're gonna do them, what's wrong with just looking at them and seeing if it's something we can do.
Ms. McDaniel, I'm not questioning that. What I'm trying to provide clarification on is what you're asking me to bring, all right? And my understanding is, you are asking me to bring a proposal that reflects in no employee making less than $20,000.
And what we could do to prohibit them from making less than 20, yes.
So you asking me to bring a proposal where no employee
Not a
makes
proposal,
less
but
than...
options, there's a difference now.
Well, and so Ms. McDaniel, there aren't a lot of different ways you can ensure that no employee makes less than $20,000 other than to increase the hourly rate of those employees.
Well, you can, if you have temps working in the district, you can give those, employees additional hours to bring them up to the 40 hours. There are things in the district that they probably could do.
Yeah, but Mr.
Can I propose this? This is your proposal, okay?
I hope this is a proposal, period, where we talk about, people having livable wages.
The vote, okay, the vote we had was on your motion, and the motion was to come up with these ideas.
options.
You have seniority on this board. You have worked in other districts. You are aware of what some of these things are. Can I suggest that maybe you say these could be some options?
I just did. He came up with one and I gave him
I'm
an extra
asking,
one.
this is nothing we're going to get solved this evening,
Correct.
okay? So I'm asking, as we go past this meeting, all right, can you submit some so Dr.
I'm not
Green
gonna
can
do that,
review them?
Mr. Chair, because that is definitely micromanagement. What we do, our governance responsibility is to let the staff know what information or whatever we request, and they bring it back to us. It ain't my job to tell him what and how. We can't sit, we want to sit here and when it's convenient, say, okay, board members, delve into management. When it's not convenient, don't delve into management. All I'm asking the superintendent to do, he's got good, adequate staff working for him. He can call some other districts. What do you all do to assist you all's workers? And I'm just saying cafeteria workers, it could be someone else. What do you do to help your workers so that you don't have employees making less than $20,000 a year? I'm just...
And Ms. McDaniel, I can tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, I can bring you a proposal back that every employee
options,
has
Dr. Green,
made.
there's a difference now. I ain't asking for the moon.
I can surely bring you a proposal where no employee here makes less than $20,000 a year. That's absolutely not a
Dr.
problem.
Green, please don't take this as a joke. We talking about real people lives and livable
It's
salaries.
not a joke. I mean,
So
you
bring,
asked me to
so
bring a
the
proposal.
options ought to be something that the district can live with. And not just something you bring this board to make the board look at it and act like it's crazy. Because there are options that the board can vote on and live with. And some that you can live with.
Mr.
If you
Manning,
give
I can live with whatever the board wants to do.
No, this one ain't about the board, because you didn't ask the board about the other stuff that you put in the budget. You just told us what you put in there.
What else stuff I put in money?
You put salary increases in?
I put a 2% raise across the board for all employees. That was
Okay.
my recommendation. Now, if the board didn't want to accept a 2%, the board could say, superintendent, we don't accept a 2%, we want to do 20%, or we want to do 10%. That was my recommendation in the context of the budget. But the board didn't have to accept my 2% recommendation, you're right. You could have not accepted that and went with a different thing.
Not really. Instead of you being combative, can you just do what we asked you to, we just voted for you to do, and that's just bring the options back up? And then if there are no good options, then we won't select them. But I hope you would really, really consider and think about the least of your employees and what they're making, try to bring something back that we can put in place that can help them.
One other point of clarification, Ms. Frick. So at this point in time, you're asking me to bring back this before we approve third reading of the
I
budget?
do not know. I do not believe that's what you were requesting. I do not believe that's what the vote on, and I believe we're going forward with third reading.
Because we hadn't even decided we were gonna do anything.
You come back with whatever options may be available, and we can review it. And if that requires, if we adopt something, I would assume that would require a budget amendment at some point. However, understanding we can't raise millage in the middle of a year, we're kind of looking prospectively, I think, is what Ms. McDaniel's talking about doing, which I know is what you were trying to do as well. But no, this would not delay third reading as I understand it. My understanding what your motion was correctly.
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
But it would have been nicer to have it before the third reading and discuss things. These are things that should be done and have meetings before the budget's completed.
I'm not going to rehash that, Ms. Hartman.
Now,
Can we go forward?
I've been on the board.
Any other questions, issues, concerns? Ms. Brown has one.
I just need a point of clarification so I can ensure this is incorrect.
The way I understand it, Ms. McDaniel's motion, and she will correct me if I'm wrong, is for the superintendent to explore options to help employees who make less than $20,000 a year be able to make up to $20,000 a year. Correct?
Correct.
And this is not necessarily going to go into effect this budgetary year. It's just to explore these options,
Correct.
if available.
And then when you took the vote was to,
Ms. Hartman, Ms. McDaniel in
Yes.
favor,
uh-huh,
and me against.
Okay.
And
The other ones didn't vote.
Okay.
the remainder were abstaining.
thank
reading of the budget.
Well, on something like that, it might be good to have, and I don't know whether you thought that, is have.
Ms. Hartman, I'm about tired of this discussion. We've covered this.
And it might not be that many employees, I don't know, have no idea.
I could take this on, but I can assure you, I will bring a recommendation back to ensure no one makes less than $20,000 a year.
Well, it'd be good to know how many people you're talking about, you know, that have.
I'll let you know how many people we're talking about, how much money it's gonna cost, and what we need to do. I'm quite sure the board has the ability to raise millage if they like. You can do whatever you like, you have that authority.
Vance Jackson, I see you with the microphone in here. I think we're there. Is there any other questions on third reading of the budget?
What did Reverend Jackson say?
Well, he was gonna call for the question. But I think if we've exhausted the discussion, I think we're at that point we can vote.
Because if you call for the question, it's just another vote.
Y'all want me to vote, don't I?
No, we motioned, we have not voted on third reading of the budget. No, the motion, yes, that has been voted on. What Reverend Jackson was talking about is concluding debate on third reading of the budget, and I am looking and it looks like debate has concluded. So, all those in favor of passing third and final reading of the FY 18-19 budget and budget resolution indicate by raising your right hand. That is 6 negative. All right, thank you. That'll be 6-1. All right, next.
And the final item under operations and finance is a recommendation by the superintendent to approve the fire sprinkler system installation at Fairfield Middle School, which is a requirement of the Office of School Facilities.
Chair will entertain a motion regarding the fire sprinkler system at Fairfield Middle School.
Mr. Chair.
Then we can get into discussion on it, because I'm sure there is some.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I make a motion, we accept the superintendent recommendation approval of the fire sprinkler system installation at Fairfield Middle School.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you, sir. It's been motioned by Ms. Harrison, seconded by Pastor Jackson to accept the superintendent's recommendation for the sprinkler system at Fairfield Middle School. Question or information on this, if you want to kind of give us an idea of what we're doing.
Yeah, and so, Mr. Chair, members of the board, during our renovation at Fairfield Middle School, the Office of Schools Facility, OSF, instructed us that we needed to update the entire building to current code. As a part of current code, we needed to update and add sprinkler systems to Fairfield Middle School. Now, generally what happens is, anytime we go in and do substantial renovations to an old facility, OSFs come back and says, well, because of that renovation, now we want you to bring the entire building up to code. Initially, they wanted us to do it during the initial construction, but we told them we simply could not afford to do it. It was going to cost somewhere around $800,000 to add sprinkler system to a facility that has never had sprinkler systems. This building was built probably in the 60s, Pastor Jackson, you probably could tell me. And so we were not adding sprinkler systems to buildings during that time. Well, we committed that whenever funds were available, we moved forward with adding sprinkler systems to the facility. In addition to the sprinkler system, while they're doing that, we're also going to update the lighting and add LED lighting as well. We received about $1.1 million from the state for facility improvement. We had to submit a proposal to the state in terms of how we would spend those facility improvement dollars, and this is how we have instructed them that we would spend those facility improvement dollars in Fairfield County. And so, in a nutshell, Mr. Frick, we are somewhat required to bring the facility up to code, which entails upgrading the sprinkler system.
But we have funding to do that, correct?
All except about $200,000.
Okay.
We had about $1.1 million.
All right. And the other one would probably come out of capital.
Capital, yeah.
Any other questions on the sprinkler system? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving. I'm sorry.
Oh, there is one question.
Yeah, so yeah, we do have some facilities that don't have sprinkler systems, but for facilities that were built years ago, it was not required. And so they only require that you go in and update it once you go in and
Why
make
you
a
have
renovation.
saying as far as that, which schools still have problems?
So for example, Ms. Hartman, you know, we're doing a renovation at Kelly Miller Elementary School. As a result of that renovation, we're having to add a water tower because of some code issues that we did not meet. And you generally don't necessarily know what the issues are until you go in and do a renovation. And then they come in and do an inspection and say, hey, this is out of code, this is out of code. So I'm quite sure we went in and did a renovation at Southern School. By the time we got done the renovation and OSF came in, they said, well, these are things we need to bring up to code.
So you're telling me pretty much all the rest of them, you really needed to,
Well,
even though they're not requiring us to do it.
well, so what I'll say is, if all of our facilities are very old, codes have changed over the years.
That's what I'm
Yes,
saying.
and so if you go in and do renovations, then they're gonna ask you to update the code
The grandfather until that time, right?
until that time. Yeah.
Are the sprinkler systems in the other schools working? It's something that,
Mr. Chair, can I ask my question since I was one, since I said question before we exhaust all the time, and then when I ready to ask my question, it can be asked.
Well, let me go ahead and answer your question, Mr. McDaniel, if you don't mind. But, it's, you know, we get these things inspected periodically, Ms. Hartman. So my understanding is the systems that we have are working. For example, we had an issue at the New Career Center a couple of months ago that resulted in the sprinkler systems coming on. And so generally speaking, you aren't 100% sure other than just doing periodic tests as to how well they operate.
that was a new one, so that.
Mr. Chair, can I ask my question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Help me understand this particular bid that's in front of us. It's got Sunwalk, and then we have Boomerang, and then we have so who's the actual I guess construction person, is the architect?
You want to know who won the bid, Mr. McDaniel?
And I'm just trying to get clarification because I see several different names on it.
Yeah, and I think they included all of the bid submissions. Let me pull it up to be sure.
Okay.
Sunwall Associates will be the general contract for the project.
And Boomerang is the architect.
Yeah.
Then why is Boomerang on it?
Where are you seeing Boomerang? I'm trying to,
On
Catch up with you.
The landscape sheet after, the one with all the signatures. The sheet with all the signatures. Look like page 4, maybe? Yeah, page 4.
The two bids I see are Sunwall and Penn.
You look up in the top, at the top on the right hand corner. It's showing this portrait, but it's really a landscape sheet.
So, Mr. McDaniel, you're talking about the, just in the corner of the document. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what's their role?
Mr. McDaniel, I really don't know. I don't know if Boomerang is subcontracting with Sunwall or Penn. I'm really not sure why. Yeah, why we can use some letterhead from Boomerang.
Should we not know that?
I didn't notice that, Mr. McDaniel, until you referenced that.
All right, can you find out, please? Let us know. Okay, my other question is on the, you said it would cost $800,000 if we, well, roughly, I know it wasn't exact. If we had upgraded the system during the renovations, and we got a waiver doing renovations, and then within, how long those renovations will be finished, by the year?
So what I said, Ms. McDaniel, was that we estimated it would be somewhere in the ballpark of $800,000 just to do the sprinkler system. While we're doing the sprinkler system, we are also going to go ahead and upgrade the lighting system at Fairfield Middle School and go with all LED lighting. So we are doing more than our estimate of just the sprinkler system. But while they're in the ceiling and doing all the work with the sprinkler system, we're also going to upgrade the lighting, which is why there would be a difference in the initial estimate and the estimate that you see now.
So would the base bid not be the sprinkler system, and then I don't know, maybe we need some detail. I mean, it's not making sense.
Okay, what's not making sense, Ms. McDaniel?
Okay, they got the base bid of 1.249,
Okay.
then the alternates 98 and 84. Alternate 1 and then alternate 2. So what is that?
What exactly are you looking at on the bid sheet?
On the bid sheet, the same thing? We normally get something to show the bricks out. And are they the only ones that did, or were there other bids?
No, there were only two individuals that did.
And that was PN and someone?
Yes. And so the alternates, all right, so you see the base bid 1.249, alternates 98.84, alternate 2 110. So the two alternates that we asked them to submit, Ms. McDaniel, we're looking at adding sprinkler systems and upgrading the lighting throughout the entire building. One bid includes just the main building. One alternate is doing lighting and ceiling tiles in the band, art, and other area. Another alternate includes doing lighting and ceiling tile in the gym area. So we have the main building, we have kind of the band, art, chorus building as an alternate, and also the gym area as an alternate. So as you can see, Ms. McDaniel, what we've elected to do is to just go with the main building.
I guess I'm still concerned, because even if you're just looking at that, the base 1.249 compared to the 800,000. I mean, what happened that within a year they would come back and say, okay, y'all go ahead and do this, when they gave us a waiver from doing it in the very beginning?
Okay, now ask that question again, Ms. McDaniel.
What would have happened?
Why did they take a waiver away? Is that what you're basically trying to get to? Why they went against waiver at one time and
Only for a year.
now they want to change it?
Only for a year. And then the price that went from 800,000 to 1.2.
No, so listen, let me be clear. So no one said the price was $800,000. What I said was, we estimated that the cost to do just the sprinkler system was going to be about $800,000. We estimated, no one came in and gave us a formal quote on it. We estimated that it was going to be about $800,000. What we're proposing to do here is not just the sprinkler system now. We're talking about doing the sprinkler system and widening the ceiling, updating the tiles, replacing the tiles, and updating the lighting to LED lighting. So it's more than just the sprinkler system. In terms of why they allowed us to move forward with the project without upgrading the sprinkler system, I can tell you it was a struggle to get there. Because initially, OSF's position was, we aren't going to approve it if you don't do the sprinkler system now. Now, we kind of negotiated with OSF and said, we can't afford to do it now. Give us a latitude of moving forward because we have kids in portable. We need to move in a new building, but we can assure you, whenever we get some available funding, we'll come back and upgrade the sprinkler system. Well, at the time we said that, we had no idea that the state was going to approve this Abbeville funding. We could apply for it. We applied for it, and then we said, well, we'll go back and do what we told you we would promise that we'd do when funding was available.
Yeah, but we got that Abbeville money over a year ago. Well, 8 months ago.
Okay. And so when we submitted the proposal, if you're familiar with that, Ms. McDaniel, you had to send a proposal. It wasn't guaranteed, first of all, but you had to let them know what you were proposing to spend the money on. And this was our proposal.
It seemed like they lost money doing it, but, you know, since I'm the only one that cares.
All right, thank you, Ms. McKay. Any questions, issues, concerns further on this? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the fire sprinkler system installation at the middle school indicate by raising your right hand. That looks like 7-0. Thank you. All right, Human Resources.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. For your approval for item 1, certified resignations, the superintendent recommends the approval. Excuse me. Superintendent recommends the board approve certified resignations and terminations for current staff members who will not return after the conclusion of 2017-18 academic year. And for your vote for this evening, you have Exhibit 1A as well as Exhibit 1B, which requires a special motion.
Thank you, ma'am. We need to do these separately in 1A and 1B, so Chair entertain a motion regarding 1A.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion we accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve the resignation and terminations for certified educators effective at the conclusion of academic year 2017-2018.
In Exhibit 1A.
Exhibit 1A, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, second.
It's been motioned by Ms. Harrison, second by Pastor Jackson to accept superintendent's recommendation of certified resignation terminations in 1A. As this is personnel, no discussion. So all those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Looks like 7-0. Thank you. Now on to 1B.
Next, for your approval, the superintendent recommends the board approve certified staff members for academic year 2018-19, and that is indicated in Exhibit 2.
I think we got to go back and finish up 1B. We just did A.
Oh, excuse me.
It's okay. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Mr. Chair, I move that a formal complaint be sent on behalf of the board to the State Board of Education requesting that the appropriate action be taken against a professional employee of Fairfield County School District, employee 1, whom pursuant to South Carolina Code annotated section 59-25-230 breached their employment contract with the district by failing to return to work.
Mr. Chair, second.
Thank you, sir. It's been motioned by Ms. Harrison, seconded by Pastor Jackson, that a formal complaint be sent on behalf of the state superintendent, on behalf of the board of the state superintendent of education, requesting that appropriate action be taken against professional of the Fairfield County School District employee 1 who breached their employment contract. All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. All right, that is 5 in the negative, 1 in the negative, abstain, 1 abstains, 5-1-1. Now number 2.
Now, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, in Exhibit 2, the superintendent recommends board approval for certified staff members for academic year 2018-19.
Thank you, ma'am. Chair will entertain a motion in regard to those staff members in Exhibit 2.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to accept superintendent recommendation. Board approve certified staff members on for academic year 2018-2019, prior year second.
Thank you, sir.
Chair, second.
Thank you, sir. It's been motioned by Mr. Miller, second by Pastor Jackson, to accept the superintendent's recommendation for certified staff members academic year 2018-19 in Exhibit 2. All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. That looks like 7-0. Thank you. I think we're now down to the board chair report. I think we've gone over graduation, remember? Be there. Are we looking to wear our fancy snazzy little coats? Is that what we're looking to do? I don't know what the board wants to do, but if that's what you want to do. Okay. Okay. Sorry to hear that. I think if you want to wear it, you can wear your coat. If you want to wear something else, wear something else. All right. And also I want to remind everybody, we've got an intergovernmental meeting coming up June 27th. The county is hosting this one. It's going to be at 6 o'clock over at the Fairfield campus of Midlands Tech. Need to get your RSVP back to the clerk of council by the 18th. So I'm sure we've got it somewhere, but if you have not RSVP'd like I have not already, go ahead and do so. Briefly, I wanted to bring up one thing. I mentioned it earlier, and Ms. McDaniel and I were chatting earlier in the meeting about the media, and I wanted to express some disappointment in our local media. While certainly the business conducted by the board is important, I don't know that an exchange between Ms. McDaniel and myself is more important than the mission of our district, which is graduating our students and giving them their best possible opportunities. At that very same meeting, that is when we recognize our students who graduated from Midlands Tech. I say that again, graduated from Midlands Tech. I gave them 2 weeks because I know they have a lag time. They covered the discussion between Ms. McDaniel and myself 2 weeks ago. Last week did not have any further updates, so I just want to say I'm disappointed about that. However, the state newspaper thought it was important enough to run an article about the great accomplishments of our students and what we are trying to overcome here in Fairfield County with the loss of some industry and other things, and just talking about some positive stuff that's going on here in Fairfield. I say that to let you know, and it was covered by other folks as well. I say that to let you know that we caught the attention of the governor. He read that article and contacted me, and I'm not saying that to brag, I'm just the person he called. But what he was calling about was to congratulate us and find out how this can be replicated throughout the state. So I just wanted y'all to know that what we have done here in Fairfield, groundbreaking stuff, has caught the attention of the governor of the state of South Carolina, and he thinks we're doing a great job and wants to see what we're doing in Fairfield, what we are doing in Fairfield goes throughout the state. So I just wanted to share that. Congratulations to everybody involved again, and of course I reiterated to him, we are in our 7th year of doing this while everybody else is in their first.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
You and I must have been thinking the same thing, and I do applaud our students, our staff, our parents. It's a journey. It takes a village to raise our children. And it does bother me that you can find time to find something negative, but this is the first time in this state to have 9 of our children in Fairfield County be blessed to have an associate's degree, and nothing is said by our local newspaper. That really bothers me. And I don't know what's going on, but you got to call it like you see it. You got to call that out.
Well, I just to Barbara when I was talking to her, but I did not realize it wasn't in there. Because normally, when I talk to her, it's negative about me and the positive about everybody else. But if I had noticed, if I had realized it, I most definitely would have said something about it.
Well, we're all aware, and we've now made them aware because we know that they watch the videos.
And I want to add, since they probably gonna run it now, to put each child's name in the paper, not just say 9 kids graduated, but everybody's name need to be in there.
Yeah, it's not like it's a whole lot.
And can I supposed to say this right here, that we got word, that our magnet school, you know, I just, Dr. Green sent that to us. Third time as an elementary school, the top in the state, 33 years in a row, but no coverage. But you want to cover something negative. Me and Miss Daniel, she looked at Mr. Henry and she crossed her eyes. Wow, that's news.
That was it?
No, it was just you.
But I'm just saying, the positive. Our children doing a great job. But you want to, I'm going to shut my mouth.
Well, I don't open mine, if you don't mind. I just want to reiterate all of the things that have been said, and I just want to let everybody go as some of our board members like to say, I'm going to go on record. Let folks know I'm proud to be on this board here at Fairfield County, and I'm proud of what we accomplished through our kids in this administration.
Here, here. So, Mr. Chairman, are you going to address that with her?
I think I just did.
No.
I mean, I'll be glad to call her, but I was giving them an opportunity to, because they have the lag time, because, you know, this is when they publish.
What last time when she put this conversation in?
Well, that was 2 weeks ago. That's what I'm saying. I gave them 2 weeks to
I
try
think
to
you should
come
call
up.
her directly.
Didn't someone email her?
I believe the information was sent to her as well.
Yeah, but she should get a phone call from the chairman. I got you back, don't worry.
I appreciate it, but I don't really need that.
Well, that's good.
I can handle it, Ms. McDaniel.
Well, go call.
All right. Well, let's get out of this meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
No.
I make them.
What did I miss?
The board meeting schedule.
Oh, where is it? You stuck that in the, okay.
It's time the board changes their own, we change that meeting? We did.
Okay, y'all have under my report the board meeting schedule for the 18-19 year, because we start over July 17th, going to be the first meeting. The first couple of meetings are going to be here at the district office. Then we have the traveling road show where we're going to go to Giger, McCrory listed, Kelly, Miller, and Gordon. I think it's the first time we're going to Gordon. That'd be nice. Okay. All those in favor of approving the board meeting?
I move that we approve the
Yeah,
schedule.
we need a motion first. Thank you, Ms. McDaniel.
Well, but can we say this, that Ms. McDaniel, she would change her motion that with any changes necessary on down the road, because we may have, remember last week you talked about the Fairfield co-op, and so let's put it that way, so we may need to change it.
Ms. Brown is indicating that she checked on that electric cooperative meeting, and we have scheduled around it. But there have been, I mean, we can amend the meeting time anytime we need to, and we have done so. So that's, I think we all appreciate what you're saying, and we all agree. But I think we can deal with that, and the issue we had has been taken care of. So Ms. McDaniel, I believe, was making a motion to approve the meeting schedule.
The meeting schedule, and I think
Ms. Harrison has seconded. Is there any further discussion? I think we've covered that. All right, all those in favor of approving the meeting schedule indicate by raising your right hand. Thank you, 7-0. Now is there a motion to adjourn if Ms. Brown will let me do it?
Yes, Chair, I make a motion, we adjourn.
I wanted to ask a question on the, nobody, told us about the beta club trip. So was the board invited?
What?
I believe all those in favor indicate by
The
raising your
traffic
right hand.
shows Henry going, so why wasn't the board approved, told about it?
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Hall,
There-
we
there-
approved the funding for the Beta Club trip last.
Yeah, well, the only issue that I've got is we've got a motion and a second to adjourn. So all those in favor,
Well, actually, it's non-debatable on motion for adjournment, so.
yes, thank you, Ms. McDaniel. You are absolutely correct. So, I mean, we can vote it up or down, but all those in favor of adjourning, indicate by raising your right hand. Motion carried.
It's an acronym.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
How y'all doing?
They didn't know about that.
They'll let you know what's going on.
The principal